We now move on to item number 3, Deputy Brendan Ryan, to ask the Minister for the Environment, Community and Local Government the need to assess coastal erosion at the borough Portrane, County Dublin. You have 4 minutes, Deputy.
Thank you, Lasky Hirlich. May I thank the Ceann Comhairle for allowing me to speak on this most important matter in the House today. I've been pushing strongly to get this matter discussed, and I welcome the opportunity that has been given to me today on it. The issue of coastal erosion in the borough of Portrane in North County Dublin is not something new. The sea has threatened and eroded the area for decades, but it is the increased pace and severity of this erosion in recent times which makes this a critical and most topical of issues at this time. 2 weeks ago, 6 to 7 metres of sand dunes were washed away in one night. As a result of this, according to Fingal County Council, there is now only 17 metres between some houses and the eroding sand dune edge. The borough is an area of the Portrane Peninsula comprised of houses, businesses flanked by dunes and estuary foreshore. It is bounded by the Rogerstown estuary in the north and west, to the east by the Borough Beach, and to the south by the urban area of Portrane village. Many people have homes in the borough, with most right next or in immediate proximity to the borough dunes and beach. It is these homes and some businesses which are in need of urgent help before they are swept away. It is getting that critical, Minister. And I know it to be very critical because I grew up in that area, adjacent to the area that has been affected, and I've lived there for many years. So I've seen the effect, I've seen the erosion over time. As I've said, this is not a new issue, nor could it be, as coastal erosion is a natural occurrence. However, this should not be an excuse for not addressing what are very real concerns for the many people who live in the borough and who are witnessing the tides coming closer and closer to their homes. This issue needs to be approached in a manner whereby the immediate situation is urgently addressed and that long-term preventive measures are found and implemented. I therefore ask the Minister for Agriculture and Marine, along with the Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform, if funding can be urgently allocated and works carried out by the Office of Public Works and our other relevant bodies on protecting the citizens of the borough in Portrane. The residents of this area have expressed their concerns for years, and now they feel they have been ignored. They also feel that it will take a number of houses to be swept away before their concerns are taken seriously. Their concerns have obviously been heightened with the extreme erosion that took place in October, coupled with the fact that high tides are now forecast for November and December. I ask you, Minister, that immediate attention and remedial action be given to the area of the coastline damaged 2 weeks ago, and that all necessary repair works take place without delay. In the longer term, I argue that this issue is taken as a matter of great urgency, and that long-term, realistic and sustainable measures be identified and implemented without delay. I am aware that there may be concerns regarding the possible impact of any work carried out on one coastal location on other adjacent locations. However, this cannot be a reason for simply to conclude that there is nothing that can be done. The residents, businesses and public buildings in Portrane must not be left at a risk of continued extreme erosion. Thank you very much, Lasky Hirlich. We need to have all the stakeholders, government and local authority, approach this in an inclusive and holistic manner in order to ensure best outcomes for the residents of the borough in Portrane and recognise that the short and long-term protection of their homes and businesses is at stake. Thank you.
Minister, you have 4 minutes.
I'd like to thank Deputy Ryan very much for raising this serious issue, and I just want to assure you that I and my department want to assist in whatever way we can. And first of all, I just want to clarify the roles of the Office of Public Works, Fingal County Council and indeed my own department, and I know you referred to other departments as well and the need to coordinate response. Overall responsibility for coastal protection rests with the Office of Public Works. However, management of the situation in Portrane, County Dublin, referred to by the Deputy, is first and foremost a matter for Fingal County Council, which is the local authority for the area. In September 2004, the OPW assumed the role as lead agency for flood risk management in the state. This role involves coordinating the National Flood Risk Management Direction and the actions and activities of government departments, local authorities and other key stakeholders. The OPW also has power to implement works to reduce the risk of flooding in coastal areas. Local authorities also have such powers directly under the Local Government Acts. My department therefore has no direct role in this matter and is only responsible for the granting of any foreshore lease or licence that may be required to facilitate work at the site. The carrying out of an assessment of the situation in Portrane is a matter for the local authority, Fingal County Council, in the first instance. I've been advised by the OPW that an application was received by it in 2009 under the OPW's Minor Flood Mitigation Works and Coastal Protection Scheme. The application sought funding of €60,000 for a coastal monitoring programme at Portrane and Rush beaches, but the application was not approved as it did not meet the scheme's criteria. However, it is still open to Fingal County Council to submit a fresh application under the scheme for measures to address erosion problems at Portrane. Any application received will be considered by the OPW in accordance with the scheme eligibility criteria, which include a requirement that any measures are cost beneficial and have regard to the overall availability of resources for flood risk management. Application forms and related guidelines are available on the OPW website. As I've already said, my role in cases such as this relates to consideration of foreshore consent applications should any work be proposed for the foreshore. Regarding this specific matter, an application was made by Fingal County Council for consent under the Foreshore Act of 1933 to construct a flood defence system at Borough Beach, Portrane, to protect houses located on Claremont Road. The works consisted of two elements: removal of sand from a beach situated in Dáil Bay Special Area of Conservation and the use of the sand to build sandbag flood defences. Following a review of the application by my specialist advisors, significant additional information was requested from Fingal County Council, including adequate mapping, to clarify whether the proposed flood defences were located on state-owned foreshore, and an environmental appraisal report on the potential effects of the proposed removal of sand from the Special Area of Conservation. In order to strengthen this report, the Council was advised to enter into direct consultation with the National Parks and Wildlife Service. The Council are also investigating the option of sourcing sand from an inland site, negating the need for disturbance of the SAC. The matter currently rests with the Council to clarify whether the proposed works are located on state foreshore and whether sand will be removed from the SAC. So just to clarify, we're not sure if it actually will need a foreshore licence. That's why the mapping is an issue that's gone back to Fingal County Council. And also, if the sand can be located somewhere else besides in the Special Area of Conservation, then that also probably would make it easier to carry out the work. So just to clarify those issues, and just to reiterate that I do realise that it is a very serious issue, and it is, it's very welcome that you've raised it here today, Deputy.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Minister. Unfortunately, you're not the Minister responsible. You've come in today and you've been asked to deliver a script, but unfortunately what has happened somehow is that the latter end of your reply today has related to a matter totally different to Rush and Portrane. It relates to Dáil. So I would ask you to ask the Department or the Minister to revise that reply in some way. But I do accept that in the opening part of your reply you did indicate that it is not, it's not totally your responsibility, and the primary responsibility lies with Fingal County Council. And I do understand that, but there's a range of responsibilities, and I'm addressing today the Department of Agriculture and the Marine in relation to their specific aspect of it. And I appreciate that coastal erosion can be a complex issue, and that when dealing with a naturally occurring phenomenon we can be presented with many challenges. I also appreciate the difficulties that all departments, including your own, face with allocating funds. However, I strongly suggest that not addressing this issue immediately will in fact just add to costs down the road. This is an issue that is not simply going to go away. As I stated, erosion is a natural occurrence and will continue if not addressed, and as was demonstrated in October, can become more aggressive without any notice. The works that have previously been carried out in order to safeguard the sand dunes on the coastline were done in good faith and with the best intentions, but they were not long-term solutions. A comprehensive and possibly cross-departmental approach is required in order to provide the best possible protection for this area of coastline. We need to ensure that all possible solutions are given consideration and that a long-term solution is put in place. The people of Portrane are not just concerned, they are worried and extremely anxious. They are witnessing the ongoing erosion of their coastline and can visibly see the dangers that they face. They cannot solve these problems themselves, so they need help. They need help from your department, and they need help from Fingal County Council. We cannot wait until we are dealing with homes disappearing into the sea before we address this issue. We cannot allow this situation to develop to a point of...
You're over your time, Deputy. Yeah.
The first part was dealing with inaccuracy. And we cannot allow the situation to develop to a point of catastrophic emergency. This is a very serious matter, Minister, which needs urgent attention. And finally, recognising that it is not open to you necessarily, Minister, to give this commitment today, but I would ask, as part of the process of coming to a solution, that you would agree to have some of your officials, possibly with officials from Fingal County Council, meet representatives of the residents and businesses of the borough in Portrane to discuss their various serious concerns. And I think in the circumstances of you stepping in for the Minister today, you should take a chance and make that commitment publicly on his behalf today. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
Well, just to clarify, I mean, the Deputy has said that the Minister for Agriculture and Marine, is primarily the Minister that you're addressing the issue to, and I'll certainly convey your concerns to him. But just to clarify my own situation, I am responsible for foreshore licence, applications, and there is a specific application for a foreshore licence to construct a flood defence system at Borough Beach, Portrane. And the removal of the sand issue, yes, the sand would come from Dáil Bay, but it is actually for Borough Beach, Portrane, so that is somewhat relevant. Also, the mapping information that was requested is specifically to clarify whether it requires a foreshore licence or not to carry out that specific work. Now, I know you may be talking about a bigger area, Deputy Ryan, but the part that I did answer is also relevant to it. Now, I do also appreciate that it is a cross-departmental matter because you're talking about the Marine as well as our department. But certainly, you have asked that officials respond and that there be a cross-departmental response. And I'll certainly take that back to my department because I do realise that it is a very serious issue and that it's something that has been raised for quite a long time by yourself and an issue that needs to be addressed for the residents. But I think that there is also, an issue for Fingal County Council to respond in relation to the queries that have been raised by my department in relation to the mapping of the area. So I would hope that we will get that response as soon as possible. And I think what we all want is to ensure that we respond to what is an issue that is very worrying for residents in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.